Today I want to talk about reading books. And the reason for that is that I did an experiment. I took a few pictures of a few of my bookshelves in my home, and then I asked Claude AI to develop a spreadsheet showing the name of the book, the language, the subject matter, and things of this nature. And it did this, which I will show you an example of here. And so I intend to, with the help of my grandson, to develop an extensive list of books, which is going to help me tremendously, because very often I know I have a book that I want to read again and I can't find it. And I'm sure some of you have had the experience that when you know that something is in a particular location, it's easier to find. Whereas when you're not sure that it's in a particular location, I'll go to the bookshelf, I'll look for the book, convince myself that it's not there and keep looking, where eventually I'll realize that it is there and find it. So I'm going to structure this spreadsheet in such a way that I can find any book that I'm interested in very easily. But that got me to thinking about just how powerful books are. I reread books. I want to go find them again. And I did some research, and it turns out that reading paper books is in many ways superior to reading online. I use reading online to learn languages, to learn words, and for all of the advantages that I talk about regularly, connecting it to sound, the ability to quickly, source some information and so forth. However, in terms of information retention, knowledge retention, research studies show that students who do more reading of paper books end up doing better at school. And there are some obvious or specific reasons that have been identified. There is that tactile aspect of holding onto a book, which does something to our brains. I've talked before about the tactile advantage of writing by hand in order to learn Chinese characters, for example. It's also the fact that when you are reading on a screen, it's more distracting. There are the pixels and the temptation to go off somewhere else. And it's also more demanding in a different way of different cognitive resources, because you're thinking about navigating and all the other things that you have to do. Whereas in the comfort of a book, which you hold in your hand, and it's you and the text, you don't have the audio assist if you're reading a foreign language book. That's true. You can't look up the word. That's true. However, you're totally engrossed, immersed in the text that you are reading. And I think that's a tremendous advantage of books, something that I have experienced personally. And I am hoping that in our education system, in terms of our leisure activities, we move away again from this, not only reading online, but spending more and more time on videos and short-length videos is sort of like a constant distraction, scrolling through our iPhones, things of this nature, and that we go back to an era when we could actually concentrate for 3 solid hours sitting there reading a book. Not only is it very, I would call it almost comforting, I can connect with, it quickly comes to mind Manon Lescaut when I read that book in French, or, Balzac, who was one of my favorite authors in French, and you can connect with that different world. You're engrossed with it, sitting there for 2-3 hours, and look forward to getting back to it. And you can take it to the bathroom, you can take it to your bedside. It's very portable and comfortable and easy to use, low tech. So I think those are great reasons why traditional reading is such a powerful thing. And one of the things I've always felt with learning languages on LingQ is I've always wanted to connect it to a book. If I'm doing something, even a course, as I mentioned in another video, some of these Persian language podcasts, if I could have a compendium of all these Persian language podcast episodes in Persian with large font, hopefully. Big problem with reading the Arabic script is the small font. And if these are texts that I have already worked on using, the opportunity to look up words and the functionality at LingQ, but now I know enough of it that I can work my way through the text while holding on to a book, I think that would be amazing. But we aren't yet there because, there's the practical difficulty of printing a book for every, course at LingQ that I'm interested in, and so forth and so on. However, connecting with books, and that's part of why I've decided to do an inventory of the books that I have here in my library. So I think I have roughly, I did a quick count, 60 to 70 bookshelves. That is to say, individual shelves on a bookcase, and there seem to be about 25 books per each one of them in different languages on different subjects, and so that's well over 1,000 books. And I'm going to see if I can kind of go and look at this list, and maybe it may be of interest to you to go and find one of these books, physically go there, pick up the book, talk about the book, what I remember of having read the book, related, as I often try to do, to language learning, so that we can explore my library together, parts of which I haven't visited in quite a while. So again, not just with regards to language learning, but with regards to learning, with regards to what's good for our brains, a bit of a kind of a withdrawal from this digital atmosphere that we live in. And I spoke to my grandson, and I have the feeling even that younger people, despite the prevalence of AI and this kind of thing, there is a sort of return from this AI a distraction a second world, and a desire to go back to something a little more permanent. And I must say my grandchildren read, all of them, the 2 in the UK and the 3 here, and I think it's a great thing to do. When I say read traditional paper books. Thank you for listening, and let me know if you have any comments and if you're interested in exploring my library. Bye for now.